Hey everyone, Georgie here from Beards and Board Games. Today I'm back with another review. Today it's going to be Welcome to the Dungeon, 2015 game by Yellow. It plays from 2 to 4 players from ages 10 plus in about 30 to 45 minutes depending on how much laughs and how much sort of egging each other on you're going. It's just as it calls itself on the back, a simple game of chicken. I would personally describe it as more of like a bluffing, egging each other on, or in fact just you haven't had a chance to run away before everyone else runs and you're the last one that ends up having to go down into the dungeon and probably die. So it's a really fun, really simple, push your luck, as it says on the back, a game of chicken. I think without further ado we should just go and check it out. Welcome to the Dungeon. Okay guys, you'll see in the box you'll get the 4 classes here. So there's a warrior, a mage, a rogue and a barbarian. Only one of which will be selected by the sort of first player at the time, and then whoever wins the round previous to that gets to select what class is going to go into the dungeon. This is the monster deck, currently the monster deck, which will turn into the dungeon deck or dungeon pile as you draft it. Well, you don't draft as such, but as you pass the monster deck round. And this is like victory points or success points, you would call them. So yeah, that's essentially pretty much all you get in the box, apart from these as well, which are kind of like life counters and reminders. So they remind you how much of each monster's in the deck. So like 1 demon, 1 dragon, and then there's like 2 goblins, 2 skeletons. But also in the game you can only get hit twice. So once you get hit, or sorry, I say hit, once you fail the dungeon. So once you fail the dungeon, you flip it over and it's red. If you fail it again, you're out of the game. So we've selected the barbarian class. The barbarian has 4 HP plus 4 for his chainmail, that's 8. Then plus 3 for his leather shield, they're bringing him up to 11. He also has the torch, which can defeat monsters with a strength of 3 or less, a warhammer, which can defeat golems, the vorpal axe, which can defeat 1 monster after you draw it, only once per dungeon, and also the healing potion, which is only once per dungeon, but when you die it can bring you back to life with your adventurer's HP, in this instance 4. So on your turn there's a couple of things that you can do. So this is the monster deck. On your turn you would draw the top card of this monster deck. Looking at this is Orc, I believe, with a strength of 3, as you can see in the top left hand corner. But you can also see in the top right hand corner it's got the symbol of the torch, which we have there. You can see the symbols match here. That means with a strength of 3 or less, the torch will instantly defeat this monster. So say you're hoping to do the run this time, you'd say, okay, so you wouldn't show anyone else this card, but you just, as I said, you would drawing the top card there, and you would place it here in the dungeon pile, adding it to the run. Next player might draw a card and say, wow, this is a strength of 5. They do have the axe, and the warhammer. Will he keep the warhammer in? However, if this player can decide to take this card out of the dungeon run and remove this warhammer, because when you remove one monster from the run that's drawn, you must remove 1 item of equipment. Now you can go all the way down to no equipment before you take the run, but that's really not a good idea considering you would only end up just going in with 4 hit points and nothing to defend yourself. So that's the 2 things that you can do in your turn. The other thing that you can do is pass. Now when you decide to pass, that means that you don't do anything that turn and it completely removes you out of the chance of running the dungeon that turn. And the last man standing who doesn't pass is the one who ends up running the dungeon. Okay, so once you've done that back and forth a couple of times, you'll see we've got rid of a couple of item cards, and there was a fair stack of a dungeon pile here once we've went through the cards, and we'll see how much they... So the first thing you do is you pick up the dungeon run, or the dungeon pile, and shuffle them. Then you take them and you draw 1 card at a time from here. So what have we got? A skeleton. So the skeleton, I have the torch, which can defeat monsters with a strength of 3 or less. You'll see it has the symbol up here to remind you. So I beat that. Same with the goblin. I beat that. 3 or less. Oh. Orc. I beat that too. It's a strength of 3. Orc. I beat that too. Wow, this is going really well. Okay, a 4. I don't have that. I can't just take those. I can take that as hit points because currently I've got 11, so no issues there. And the last one would be a 7. Well, that would bring me to 11 hit points. However, I can defeat one monster after you draw it once per dungeon. Now I always turn this sideways to show that I've used it. And I'll defeat this. meaning that I only took 4 hit points, meaning I made it through the dungeon, means I can take one of these success cards. Okay, say for example I didn't have this Vorpal Axe, that means I couldn't defeat the demon, which means 11 hit points total would kill me. Means I couldn't run any further through the dungeon, means I would not get a success card and would be unsuccessful. When you're unsuccessful, you flip your player card over to show that you've been unsuccessful one time. When you're unsuccessful a second time, you're out of the game. So one time means you've got your red side up, and regardless of whether you win or lose, you get to choose the next class that somebody may, potentially you, potentially another player, might be running through the dungeon with. And in this instance, I would probably pick the Rogue, because they're my favourite. Okay guys, you'll now see that I'm set up exactly the same, apart from it's set up for the Rogue. You'd repeat the process, and the first person to win 2 success cards is the winner, or the last man standing is the winner. Let's go and see what I thought. So everyone, what did I think of Welcome to the Dungeon overall? Super fun, really enjoyed it. It's a great push your luck game, something even my wife enjoyed it, which is not often for a small kind of card game like this, just not something that she's generally into. But this one, she super enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. To be honest, the mechanic of discarding the cards and then having to discard an item from the dungeon, from the class that you're going to go into the dungeon with, is it's a really unique mechanic to me, and I find it really interesting, particularly watching the other players, you know, like, oh, what have they discarded, what are they going to discard, oh, have they discarded this for that reason, did they discard that defeat the dragon token because they discarded the dragon and they don't need it, or because they put it in and they're going to pass next turn. It can sometimes just be a bit brain fuzzling, but I really enjoy that aspect because it's just a super quick, fun push your luck game, as it says, or as it says in the box, like I said earlier, a little game of chicken. Anyway, that's my review of Welcome to the Dungeon. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe in this video. You can also follow me on Twitter at Beards and Boards. Otherwise, I wish everyone the best for 2016. This being my first proper review that I filmed in 2016, so I'm going to wish everyone the best. Other than that, catch you guys later. This episode was sponsored by GamesLore, the UK's largest specialist games retailer, which can be found at gameslore.com.